Hello everybody, Halcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 439. And today we're going to be talking about the Firebee, the 35-ton mech from the Capellans, going back to the early days of the Confederation, the Star League. I think this one came out 2483, found in the Succession Wars book. The Firebee. Well, the Firebee is a 585 moving 35-ton mech. Nothing special about it. It doesn't have anything really fancy on it. And we don't even have endosteel or ferrofibrous armor. So, it has 10 double heat sinks, a 585. It has 6 tons of slab armor for 96 points of protection. Was it 118, 119, something like that. That's the most this thing could have on it. So, not overly, it's like a ton missing of armor. So, you really could put it on there if you wanted to, but it comes at the expense of your weapon system. To go with this little mech, we have a large laser in the right arm. So it does have some capability to do some damage out to 15. 8 points of damage with that large laser. Not bad. Then we have in the right torso an SRM-2. In the center torso, an SRM-2. In the left torso, an SRM-2. And in the left arm, an SRM-2. And then in the torso, left torso that is, we have 2 tons of ammunition. I already see where this is going. And then we have jump jets, 1 in the center torso, then in the 2 in the right torso, and then 2 in the left torso for your 5. All right. So what you have here is a mech that goes 585. So it does have some good mobility. It can get around pretty decently, at least with a 5 movement. Nothing fancy, but when you think about it in terms of Succession Wars, it's pretty standard. Now, if you compare it to clan tech and everything, oh yeah, this thing is highly outclassed, but it's not fighting against the clans when it was designed and heading out on the battlefield for all the years it was running around. So, what I love about this thing, it has 4 SRM-2s with 2 tons of ammunition. So you got 2. You can have 1 Inferno and 1 Standard. So then you can do, launch. Say you see a target, I just want to do damage to it. There you go. You can do fire 4 missiles at it. Launchers, can't even say that twice. 4 missile launchers at the thing and maybe hit with some of them, do some damage. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to cook this thing and send Infernos at it and barbecue it down. So there's that. Now, the biggest issue is heat with this thing. Now, if you fire the large laser and you run, not a problem. Because that's 8, 10, you're running cool. It's when you decide to jump. Say if you want to jump 5 and you fire the large laser, okay, then you're up by 3. So you got to think about not shooting that thing the next turn. So it's more or less moving it into position for later on. It's like fire, then move out of the way type of deal. You're just trying to escape the situation, bouncing around, making the most use of it. Or in the case, you can run and fire the large laser and not have to worry about the heat. That's good, right? Not a problem. Now, when you have the 4 small SRM-2s thrown into the mix, you fire all 4 of those, that's 8 heat, you run, not a problem. It's when you jump that becomes the issue. So it's like you have to sort of balance this thing out. Now, if you wanted to fire all your weapon systems, that's 16. And if you jump, well, that's 21. Yeah, you just went up 11 on the heat scale. Not too smart. And going up 11 on the heat scale, yeah, you're sitting with a -2 movement and a -1 to hit modifier. Maybe you think you might be able to do some damage, but really your firepower isn't all that great. So I would not do such a thing. I'm always looking at what kind of problems I can cause for somebody at the minimal amount of detriment to myself. And when you come in at 808 battle value, you can shoehorn this little guy into lots of different places. I like the idea of this thing is like you see infantry, you can cook them down. You hit vehicles, you can cook them down. You hit a vehicle with a bunch of SRM2 Infernos, yeah, you're doing more problems for them with the Infernal rounds than you would if you probably hit them with just the standard ammunition. Or in some cases, you may say, I'm going to fire 2 of these and 2 of those. You know, it's like 2 Infernos, 2 damage. So you see which ones will hit and stick to the wall, do some damage to them, do some, you know, if you hit them a vehicle with Infernos, you're say, hey, I'm rolling on the crit table. You know, you may really slow them down, or you may do something else really nasty to them. Or you may not do anything at all. It's just the randomness of the game. And then you may hit them with a couple SRM2 shots and suddenly just roll a 2 or a 12 and hit, you know, blow them up. You know, it is crazy things have happened in this game. That's what I love about Battletech. You never know what you're gonna get. So there's that. So it's one of those things where you just have to look at this thing and it's like, all right, where's it best suited to? It can work fairly decent in an open battlefield where there's other larger targets that will attract the attention of it away from it. You know, you don't want somebody shooting at it because it doesn't have a lot of armor and it doesn't take much to take one of these things down. It's a light mech. It is what it is. So now if you get into a city fight, it will excel pretty decently in a city fight because it can bounce around halfway decently and use its Infernos. If you're fighting combined arms game where you got infantry running around, just throw some Infernos into a building. Yeah, I'm shooting the building, or you may I'm gonna put 2 Infernos at the building and I'm putting 2 at the infantry that's in the building, and then see what sticks type of thing. It's like the odds are you probably will hit with the Infernos into the building because, you know, it's an immobile object. But, you know, it's Infernal. You have a good shot at catching that building on fire. Cook them out. You know, move them. Make them leave the area. Move out into the open. So if they're in a burning building, they may not want to be in the burning building and have to leave. Extract them from the situation where they're well protected, because if you don't know, it's like when you're shooting infantry with weapon systems that are in a building, there's a defensive mitigation there that can lower down the damage that they take. But if you hit them with flames and fire, well, yeah, that's like, yeah, they don't like that. That fries them pretty quick. So they're going to leave. So that's something to think about. Then, like I said, attacking vehicles, good. Attacking mechs, do a little bit of damage to them, put a couple Infernos on them, raise their heat. Because if you play against somebody that loves to run their mechs hot, you hit them with Infernos, you pump that up. That may be the slight threshold that puts them between like a 1 movement modifier to a 2 movement modifier, you know, losing that, or having to roll a shutdown, or even an potential ammo explosion. Yeah, you just look at, hey, what's the worst thing that could happen? And let's try to make it happen. But, you know, the worst thing about this mech is the heat sinks. There's not much you can do about that. It is what it is. Now, there's a later version that came out during the 3071, or they did some modifications to it. They have stealth armor on board. It has a the weapons have been removed and replaced by a plasma rifle and an MML5 with 2 tons of ammunition. So you can determine if you're going to have, usually at short range, and you have extend range type of ammo on board. This comes in at 1067 for battle value. So there's a little bit of versatility with the MML there, because then you have explosive, but then it's like you're losing kind of that potential for the infernal shenanigans that go with it. But you have the plasma rifle, which does damage and heat, because it's plasma. So that kind of takes over the infernal aspect of it. So it's give and take right there. So, but the range is what goes out to 15. So it's one of those things where, which one do you prefer? You know, what kind of weapon systems would you like to be running around with? So it's something you have to think about when you're playing with the two different versions of the Firebee. I kind of like it. It's one of those things where it kind of fits my play style of, well, our whole group that we have, we're a bunch of pyromaniacs. So we like to have our mechs starting everything on fire. If you ever watch any of our bat reps, things burn a lot. And this one fits kind of right into that shenanigans that we like to do. All right, so that is the Firebee. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elcrex out.